Another worm.
Who would do that?
That's crazy.
Hey, Astrid, if you're still cold. Hey!
What about him?
Astrid, life is too short. You need to express your feelings. Stop wasting time. You two are perfect.
Astrid! Oh! Are you okay?
I'm fine.
When I expressed my views in a video about the proposed live-action adaptation of How to Train Your Dragon, I unmistakably conveyed my lack of enthusiasm for what I believe to be a very bad idea.
That is a very, very bad idea.
Last movie to the How to Train Your Dragon trilogy was in 2019, which was not that far away from 2022, the year that it was announced that they're getting a live-action remake for this beloved franchise, which will be DreamWorks' first live-action remake, at least to my knowledge anyway. Nobody felt good about that decision, and nobody wanted it. I'm skeptical about how well How to Train Your Dragon will translate into a live-action format. There are inherent challenges in bringing animated films, particularly those steeped in fantasy, into the realm of live action. It's not usually a seamless transition, and the track record of live-action remakes doesn't inspire much confidence, and people have been very vocal about the egregious exorbitance of badly manufactured and clearly cash-grab live-action Disney remakes. It definitely appears as though the primary motivation is financial gain, with a veneer of virtue signaling aimed at a narrow vocal portion of the audience. Ironically, this subset seldom financially backs up their support by regularly consuming Disney's products, the kings of the live-action remakes. I mean, look at this. What in the unholy, uncanny valley cannon fodder is this? Somehow the animated version of Beast from Beauty and the Beast looks more handsome than whatever the frick this is supposed to be. How to Train Your Dragon's trilogy ended in 2019. Depending on how different the live-action version is from the animated one, the close timing might cause viewers to compare the two versions directly, which could make it harder for the new movie to establish its own identity, especially if it bears the same title exactly. Additionally, audiences may feel like there just hasn't been enough time to miss the franchise, which could impact the excitement and anticipation for the new movie. This is definitely something to consider, given that the original trilogy and the accompanying television series were well received and beloved by many people. Like I said, nobody was asking for this. But what really made my heart sink is when I see that DreamWorks is now heading in the same direction as Disney, because apparently there is this all-seeing eye that cares more about shoehorning in ethnic minorities into stories as a primary focus rather than just a good story that has people in it that just happen to be that color. Hiccup and Astrid were the main human characters in the How to Train Your Dragon universe. Whenever you hear about Hiccup and Astrid, there's always this look that comes into your mind. Hiccup is a cute brunette guy and Astrid is a blue-eyed, blonde, badass chick.
And where you go, I go.
Thank you for everything. Shh, just rest. We're gonna beat this. I promise you, Astrid. You just have to keep fighting and hold on. You need to stay with us. I can't imagine a world without you in it.
What you're searching for isn't out there, Hiccup. It's in here.
Hiccup and his community are explicitly identified as Vikings, a label deeply ingrained in their culture. Vikings were seafaring individuals originating from Scandinavia, active from the 8th to the late 11th centuries. These historical figures were known for raiding, pirating, trading, and establishing settlements across various regions of Europe. They're frequently depicted as fierce warriors with a ruthless nature.
Most people would leave. Not us. We're Vikings. We have stubbornness issues.
Yet, in How to Train Your Dragon, they are portrayed as resilient individuals, demonstrating a depth and complexity that goes beyond the stereotypical media depiction, while also depicting some of those stereotypes. I know. But witnessing this particular culture was really fascinating for me, as I also have a keen interest in Viking history, or just the culture. Now, this does have a considerable amount of daubing of fantasy inside of it, and you might even make the argument that the word Viking is based on a culture and not an ethnicity. Not every Viking was blonde and blue-eyed. Interestingly, there was a scant interaction between various Scandinavian groups, with inland populations being notably absent in Viking DNA. Also, while Scandinavian Vikings intermingled with people from disparate locales, they had little interaction among themselves. Therefore, Vikings originating from the area known as Denmark migrated to England. Those from modern-day Sweden journeyed to the Baltic region, which is notable for providing the only archaeological evidence of Viking raiding parties. Vikings from present-day Norway, referred to as Norse, set off to Ireland, Iceland, and Greenland. So, although the Viking heritage is diverse, what is very clear through the DNA findings is that they are not of African descent. Nico Parker, who's set to play Astrid, bears a striking divergence in appearance from the original character. Apart from the shape of her head, Nico Parker looks nothing like Astrid, or at least nothing like the Astrid that we've come to recognize in the films, the merchandise, shows, and movies. How to Train Your Dragon has consistently excelled in its portrayal of diverse individuals within Viking culture, and it's undeniable that the majority of these characters look to be of European descent. Yes, you can have all European characters that look drastically different. You may be wondering, then, what is the problem with casting Nico Parker, because she can easily pass as that? Ideally, nothing would be wrong with that, because I'm pretty sure looking at her, she almost certainly has ancestry from one of these places, same as me. However, unless they're going to straighten her hair or give her a blonde straight-haired wig and put blue contacts in her eyes, what is the point if she doesn't look anything like the character Astrid? However, I have a feeling I know why DreamWorks is doing this, and it's probably for the same reason that Disney is. Yet DreamWorks faces a peculiar predicament. In order to accurately depict Astrid, a fully European character, they might need to alter Nico Parker's appearance to align more closely with European features. Judging from her looks and based on who her mother is, Nico Parker is probably majority or half European. So I definitely think she can pull it off, and I also really like her. I think she's adorable and absolutely breathtaking. She's not the strongest actress in terms of performance, but I think she could pull off an Astrid. However, Astrid does have a certain look to her, and I don't see why it would be advantageous to change her look just for the sake of the studios trying to look as though they're not racist, because we know that's what it is. It's clear that film studios have certain diversity objectives to meet, and as a result, modern films can sometimes come across as contrived or hollow.
Hold on, yeah, look at the fucking drip.
This could lead to tokenizing characters under the guise of promoting diversity. Altering the physical attributes of characters that are already deeply ingrained in the same medium can understandably upset fans. Moreover, this could unfairly subject the actors who have been put into these tokenized roles to unwarranted criticism and hostility. There's so many other actresses that look almost identical to Astrid that they could have chosen from. Let's not pretend we don't know what this is. This isn't a case where we're transitioning straight from a book and making alterations for a different medium or platform. It's been merely 3 years since the final How to Train Your Dragon movie was released, and already, with the announcement of the live-action adaptation, changes are being made to titular characters. I will give them the benefit of the doubt because DreamWorks does have a good track record. Even if they do change the way Astrid looks by giving her dark kinky hair instead, I suppose people would be willing to overlook it if the portrayal is to the utmost perfection. However, we already have so much marketing for these characters that it would be very jarring for fans who grew up with the franchise. No one should actually have an issue with them giving Nico Parker a blonde wig and blue contacts, since I think she is majority European anyway. I mean, it wouldn't be like they're whitewashing her because she's mostly white, but you know the internet's gonna bitch about this, and if those types of people are who DreamWorks is trying to appease, it's gonna end up pissing those people off, as everything tends to. Now, I could be wrong, and DreamWorks might just be doing this because Nico Parker is breathtaking, and they want someone really pretty to play Astrid who is more relevant. It is possible there might be a hint of nepotism in there as well. I just want them to do right by the characters. I don't want Hiccup being played by a blonde, blue-eyed guy either. That would be jarring as hell. Hiccup shouldn't have black hair or be 6 feet tall and super muscular. Toothless shouldn't be white with spots. Hiccup shouldn't possess a deep baritone voice or an attitude that's full of himself, because that's not who Hiccup is as a character. That's already been established, and if they wanted to make a completely different portrayal of these characters, then they shouldn't be using the How to Train Your Dragon name, because it will confuse and divide fans. Especially, and again I reiterate this, because the freaking trilogy, movie, and shows were literally just here. Incorporating diversity in films is indeed commendable, commendable, but if the motivation stems from studios feeling uncomfortable about an abundance of white characters in a Scandinavian setting, a somewhat historically accurate representation for the period and place, it could end up alienating audiences. In a sense, it might come across as an attempt to erase or overwrite the cultural heritage of that region. And if managed insensitively, it could be perceived as tokenism or may inadvertently perpetuate stereotypes, which might accidentally end up shining the poor innocent actress in a bad light, leading some to assume that she secured the role solely due to her biracial identity. In Astrid's case, if her character is reimagined with a different racial or ethnic identity while remaining in a Viking society, the film has thoughtfully addressed how this difference influences her experience within that culture. Failure to do so could lead to the false impression that the experiences of racial and ethnic minorities are inadequately acknowledged or represented. And then, if that is the role she's going to end up playing in this movie, it takes away from the focus for what the movie was originally about. I mean, based on what I've seen, I personally think Zendaya has more of an Astrid attitude, but as a director, I wouldn't cast her for the role because she doesn't look like Astrid. On the other side of this, we have Chloe Grace, who is naturally blonde, but still looks nothing like the character, and who I honestly think would be a very bad cast as Astrid, despite her also being blonde and having a similar-ish eye color.
And because I love that character for who he is as a character, not because of the color of his skin. And now, instead of getting a film with a character that is predominantly black, we are taking a character who is predominantly white, turning him black, and saying we care about representation. Plus, when you race or gender swap a character, you have to work double time to convince me that this is the same character from the source material. Because any mistake that you make with this character is going to reflect poorly on the people that you're claiming to represent.
The other worry that I've mentioned before is that DreamWorks is beginning their journey down the white rabbit hole of these unnecessary live-action remakes and using them as crutches, which will ultimately cause them also to become creatively bankrupt. Then you have to wonder, are they remaking these things solely for the purpose of diversity like Disney does? Because I fail to see an actually good reason to decide to release a remake of a popular franchise only 3 years after you've done the last movie. Something is just not computing for me unless there's an ulterior motive. There are also other stories that could be made based on the same universe, as a matter of fact, like the dreaded and disgusting Nine Realms.
What are you? Where did you come from? Why?
What is the cure for vomiting? The cure for vomiting is to fix the underlying cause.
Audrey Graywin does an in-depth review of this atrocity, so go check out her channel and have some fun with that.
Here's part 1. Mia Morwing, the man who created the Nine Realms, is also responsible for giving us the scrap metal meme, and Astrid canonically shaking her tits at Hiccup, which actually made Dragon's history by the episode getting restricted for adult content on Netflix Kids. Okay, that may have also had to do with Dagger and Mullis straight up exercising their pain fetish in a show rated Y7.
Hit me again.
Oh, no.
Go on.
Dagger.
Hit me again. Okay.
I also did a review of this and oh my gosh, it drove me insane. You guys can check it out if you like and if you enjoy seeing people suffer. Some of you sadists want me to continue. Anyway, it's crucial for the producers and creative team behind the live-action remake of How to Train Your Dragon carefully consider these points in order to create a film that respects both the source material and the audiences they're expecting to make a return to watch it. So who thinks a live-action How to Train Your Dragon movie should have never been made, and who is in favor of it and why? What is the best way that they could present this idea? Because I'm pretty sure whatever you guys come up with is probably better than what they would. Thanks so much for watching. This has been Ultiori. You ask, we answer.